have much Biden in particular. Gallup poll shows that only 38% of U.S. adults have a great deal or a fair amount of confidence in Biden to make the right decisions about the economy. Former President Trump's criminal hush money trial got personal Tuesday. His former adult film star Stormy Daniels took the stand. Senior legal correspondent Laura Jarrett.
Donald Trump seated just 10 feet away as the woman at the center of his hush money cover-up trial, Stormy Daniels, testified in vivid detail about their alleged sexual encounter nearly 2 decades ago that prosecutors say he was desperate to hide from voters before the 2016 election.
The case alleges Trump paid her $130,000 to stay quiet about the story. He's accused of falsifying business records tied to the payment. Testimony in the trial resumes Thursday. The Justice Department is scheduling a meeting with the families of victims of 2 fatal Boeing 737 MAX crashes. More from Mark Mayfield.
The DOJ contacted the families Tuesday as it is close to deciding on if the aviation company violated a 2021 deal that allowed it to escape criminal prosecution regarding the deaths. The families were invited to attend a meeting at the end of the month where a decision will be made as to if Boeing breached a deferred prosecution agreement.
Stock futures are slipping after the Dow notched the longest winning streak since December. I'm Michael Kastner.
Good morning and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest-running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsockеtradio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
Hey, good morning, everybody. It's time for Coffee Ann around the world and across the nation. Dave Richards here, filling in for my final time. For Joe, because Joe will be back tomorrow. Let's hear it for Joe back tomorrow. Yay!
Safe travels.
Melissa, Melissa is so polite. She didn't clap when I said, "Let's hear it for Joe back tomorrow."
I missed my hands.
Yeah. Well, then you were very, very stealthily applauding that one. But I thought I took it for sensitivity, of course, so my situation here. Good morning, Melissa.
Good morning.
I think it's Melissa anyway. I can't tell. Her tag is once again turned around so we can't see her name.
When I start out in the morning, it's facing right, and then the tornado of my life just...
Well, I'm just teasing you about it. There's no big deal right there, you know. John Ward is here, otherwise occupied in what's going on in his life there.
I was just perusing the headlines of the newspapers.
Well, that way you can be timely when we enter our discussions of local news.
I will try to,
He's doing
but
his homework.
I got up a little late this morning flying in from the West Coast last night.
Boy, are your arms tired.
It was terrible.
Classic dad joke. Classic dad joke.
And also, let's say good morning this morning to Tim Draper.
Remind me of
Dave?
Red Skelton, actually.
I'm admiring the shirt that you have on this morning, Dave. It looks very familiar.
Yeah, it's a gift from a friend of mine.
Team uniform. That's what we have this morning.
Yeah, it's a gift from a friend of mine.
I missed the memo. Oh, you guys are definitely matching, but I'm saying you have a polo shirt as well.
Melissa?
Yeah.
I don't even
see?
play polo.
I can.
It's got the Navigant tag on it.
I didn't know we were supposed to provide wardrobe.
I did.
You have it? Because
To
if
the
you
host,
do, you
I
may
think
provide it.
I might have to provide a St. Antoine Community polo shirt. I mean, it's not going to be as nice as Navigant. We are a nonprofit.
I'd wear it.
Matter of fact,
Technically, we are
I'm
too.
confident none of us play polo.
No, it's true. And there was a trivia question.
But we could
yesterday.
yell out Marco
polo.
while we're wearing the shirt, and that would be...
Do we still call them polo shirts?
Well,
or
there
are
was
they golf
there was a
shirts? Like, what
trivia
do we call
question
them
yesterday
now?
about Ralph Lauren.
Yeah.
They're talking about the company Ralph
Hold on a
Lauren.
second here. One conversation at a time. Tim's changing the subject.
And the question was Ralph Lauren's company Polo. Did they do this shirt first? Were they the first ones to do a collared cotton short sleeve shirt? And the answer was yes, and that's why they call it a polo shirt.
Is that so?
Yeah, Ralph Lauren.
Well, they single-handedly disrupted the business professional attire of men wearing
Certainly
suits
did.
to work, and now they all wear polo shirts.
We wear this.
I kept trying to wear a tie and button-down shirts, and people just laughed at me.
Yeah.
So I succumbed. I relented.
I'm going to be the producer here. I think it's time for Melissa's first message.
Thank you very much, John.
You know
I was
what that
trying to
means?
get
That
there.
means you being this kind means
I
that
saw
you
the
read something in
clipboard.
the headlines that you were itching to talk about. So you're like, let's get her message
No.
over with and let's get on to the
No, actually,
the
that's
meat of
quite
the
all right. I'm just full of trivial stuff that I just glanced at the headline, but I want to hear about what you have to say.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Well, thank you. I often speak on the air about St. Antoine Community and the full continuum of services that we offer on our property because they love it when I use the word continuum. But I'm going to really narrow in the focus and talk a little bit our brand new level of care that we're going to be opening up. Still projected in June, so I'm excited to consistently say that for the last month or so without wavering on that. So we're still aiming for June as our opening date for our newly, addressing need in our community. So we're going to be opening a 24 private suite memory care assisted living unit that is going to be affordable, which is a rare, I'm going to call it a unicorn in the state of Rhode Island, never mind in the northern part of Rhode Island. And the testimonies and conversations I had from folks at the recent health fair, not only with WON, but even with the Alzheimer's Caregiver Journey Conference last week, definitely supports the need and why we put together this project and put a lot of time and energy and effort into the services that are going to be offered in it because we listen to our folks and we listen to our caregivers and we wanted to make sure that we could support them however best we could. So in June we'll be opening up that unit, hopefully going to be able to announce a date for an open house and offer some tours. But if you need any information or you want to, me to send along some promotional information about the unit, you can reach me at 401-767-3500 or email me at msmith@santantoine.net. Well, I haven't finished my coffee yet, so my words are going to be a little slow and jumbly until I get a continuum. It's not a continuum of speech, obviously.
Dear me. I wonder, I had the thought, and I don't know if it's a good idea, but I had the thought of pulling a rant this morning.
Do it.
And then letting you folks take pot shots at me and decide whether or not you agree with my opinion or not.
Should do that.
You're going to have a rant? We're going to see a little temper, a little flair, a little something?
I don't know.
Yes.
I brought my rubber chicken.
Beat you with a wet noodle.
All right. Well, listen, here's what it is. Obviously, we heard while you were away, John, but I'm sure you kept up on it, that the cost to demolish and rebuild the westbound side of the Washington Bridge just continues to climb. They've added another $100 million to the overall obscene figure to get it all done. And that includes, by the way, a $10 million bonus if they get it done ahead of schedule.
Oh, there's a motivation.
Yeah, isn't it? Though, huh?
I'm just going to
free
interject.
money.
Let me interject here, just one moment.
What?
The first announcement, I believe the number was around $330 million. And at exactly that moment on Twitter, when one of the reporters, or X, put on there that it was going to be $330 million, I made my first comment on that bridge. And I said, I assure you, before this is over, it will be $500 million.
Well, they're getting close.
They're working on it.
They're working on it. They're getting close. But
this was back in March, I said.
I think this is Dave's rant. This is Dave's rant.
I reasoned it. Thank you very much,
You're
Melissa.
welcome.
I reasoned it this way that, okay, $10 million sounds like an awful lot of money to get the bridge done on time when you should get it on time anyway for the regular sum. However, it's a big motivation. And when you consider the disruption and the ancillary costs of not having the bridge there, maybe $10 million to get it done sooner than later is an investment. Because you may actually, save that much money in the short run.
It's an inducement to use that $10 million towards paying the overtime so you get it done earlier.
Well, there you go. Yeah. So anyway, we have that. And so I'm looking at that and I'm saying, well, okay, situation normal. And this morning I take a look at my newswire and there is a press release from the Rhode Island Republican Party chairman. Man's name is Joe Powers. And he had himself a little to-do yesterday. He stood up at the pulpit and he pounded on the table and he said, the problem is those rotten Democrats.
Isn't that his job?
The whole debacle is the Democrats' fault. And so anyway, I looked at it and I said to myself,
How could it be otherwise?
no.
There's only been Democrats in
No.
power for the
No.
last 75 years.
No, yeah, right. But I'm looking at that and I'm saying, don't we have enough problems in this state, land, world, nation, city, that we should be smart enough and grown up enough not to be doing stupid partisan junk like that? And I was miffed.
Yeah. Well,
I read the story on the air, but I editorialized when I did it. And I don't know if you listen to it, you'll probably hear that I editorialized a little bit on it. But I ridiculed the chair of the Republican Party for his press release while reading the press release on the air. And I said to myself, geez, Dave, that's probably the least professional thing you've done in a long time on the radio.
well, welcome to this panel.
And then I said to myself, who's going to fire me?
That's true.
But
Denise.
I could get complaints
You could.
from both Republicans in the state. That was a joke.
We got it.
So anyway, I took a rant on this. Does anyone agree, disagree, or want to pass a comment on my professionalism? I'm here, take a pot shot. That I'm not proud of what I did. I'm just like at the end of my rope with this partisan diatribe.
It's the
Does
world.
anyone agree or disagree? I just want to get the conversation started with
So
that.
I'm going to assume you don't read the columns that the Call-in Times puts in every week by
The
EJ
editorials.
by E.J. Dion.
Well, he's got one in today. I see that it's there. I usually don't have time to read. No, I didn't. What does it say?
No, it doesn't matter. I already know what he's saying.
Oh,
Trump, evil, bad. Republicans, kill.
okay. All right.
They will destroy the nation.
I didn't read him, so I didn't know that was his bent.
Oh,
I
God,
try to be a
that's his
moderate.
whole bent.
But and I love Republicans and I love Democrats because I don't see the difference. You're all public servants. Get the business of the public done. One of the things I've always loved about the city of Woodstock
there's-
is we have nonpartisan elections.
There's the catch. Get the people's business done.
Right.
Whose business are the politicians, once you rise to certain levels,
Right.
whose business are they doing? You reach a point where the lobbyists control the agenda, the people with the money who are going to pay for the campaigns. In Washington, it's pointless trying to pass first-class, high-quality legislation because it's got to go through not Congress and the Senate, but it's got to go through the lobbyists first to have them form it into something that's going to benefit them and not necessarily the general population. And the Rhode Island State House is no different, just on a smaller scale. And when you get down to the local level is when you get to true democracy, where local
certainly hope
opinion
so.
and the people's interests can be served.
It
And
sure
it's
seems that
less,
way.
It should be. It is not necessarily in the last 30 years, but it should be when you start doing the people's business.
Uh-huh. All right. Well, let's bring it to Tim and Melissa. I'll go to Melissa first, Tim, if
Oh.
you don't mind.
I do not, ladies before gentlemen.
Should Dave be? Should I stand in the corner for an hour for this misbehavior,
No.
or do you suppose
No.
that it is
No, I
understandable?
understandable. I very much side with you on this one. I think that we've all discussed on the air that we're exhausted from this back and forth.
Right.
I often jokingly, lightly say more hugging, less fighting. I just think there's no substance behind a statement like that he made. There's no substance, and
Well,
that is what politics.
He wants the governor of the state of Rhode Island to come to a little soiree he's putting together in East Providence
Mm-hmm.
and stand there and let them take pot shots at him. They'll line up and take pot shots at him.
Well, I think the tone in politics feels often like this, right? Like I'm going to call them out, I'm going to point my finger at them, but I'm not going to say what I really feel is the source of the problem and provide a solution. That's not how politics work anymore. That's how I feel anyways. It's just a lot of
It's
finger pointing.
supposed
It's
to
very
be a
elementary.
solution. And what's the definition, John? Criticism.
Mm-hmm.
The difference between a criticism, griping, and a criticism. Well, if you're offering a solution for debate, that is the positive approach. And if you're just saying this rots and you're no good,
Right.
and stuff like that, then you're just being part of the
no,
problem. Do I have that
I
right?
assure you that the chairman of the Republican Party was offering a solution. Vote for more
Yes,
Republicans.
get rid of all the Democrats. Okay,
That's
very
the
good.
solution.
Yeah, I see. Timmy, should Dave stand in the corner, or should I get a pass on this one?
I agree. I think that it is empty, his activities and his statement. You know, at a time like this, everybody in the state around knows that it's been controlled by the Democratic Party forever. There's no reason for a Republican to need to come out and point that out, because it's just fact, and it's been that way for, as John says, 75 years. But I feel like if he'd had an opportunity if he'd had taken that opportunity to try to do something either bipartisan or, hey, listen, we're going to get to the bottom of this. The Republicans are going to try to do the following things for the people of East Providence, and not host big parties and things like that. That's not helping the businesses out there. We're going to try to forward legislation that's going to help these people or whatever it might be. It's to stand there and just go, this is all the Democrats' fault. Yeah, that's your job, but that's just, it rings hollow in my ears at this point in time.
I wouldn't take a job where I had to do that.
Let me go into the world of speculation here about the bridge, and the bridge with all of the reports that apparently go back many years and say that it was deficient back then. And you'll hear a lot of complaints about the fact that Peter Alviti was only the Public Works Director of Cranston, probably not qualified to the level that most statewide DOT directors are qualified, but he had very close ties and warm, loving relationship with union bosses. And Gina Raimondo needed votes, and she needed union support, and she didn't get the governmental union support, but she needed trade union support, therefore. And she got it by getting Alviti on board, and I guess you might say pandering to the unions. But that, I suspect, the bridge reports that were so bad, that were poo-pooed back in whatever year, may have been something that was higher on a priority list when they, knowing that it may have been in the hundreds of millions of dollars, and somebody at some point said, well, we'll pay for it with the tolls.
Right.
And
How'd that work out?
What happens when that ends up in court and all of a sudden the machines are shut off? Keep it quiet. We'll have to get to that later. Maybe it'll hold up until we have time to settle this lawsuit.
So you're saying some sort of
And
conspiracy
I'm not.
there.
I'm not saying it's a conspiracy. It's a bad judgment. I'm not even saying it's this. I'm just speculating here. This is just
right.
a guess.
Okay, you did say
about
speculating.
how it could. Issues can arise with an expected funding source, and then the funding source disappears for whatever reason, as the tolls did, and so it changes the big cost items in the priority list. And I'm just saying, I'm not saying it even is anywhere near the case. I'm just speculating that maybe the prioritization of the damages that were done on that bridge, and the effort to remediate them were managed against the toll lawsuit.
Well, then, gang, what do you think? Is this? Are you picturing? Can you imagine a scenario? Let's talk to Tim this time. Can you imagine a scenario where they say, "Oh, let's turn those gantries back on. We got to raise some money to fix the bridge."
Yep, absolutely.
You can't imagine that.
I can imagine the
Melissa?
legislature
Yep.
saying we don't have any money for
Serious,
it.
huh?
I didn't think of it actually until you just brought that up. But
Yeah.
yes, I can see that.
And I'm just.
But not for trucks, for everybody.
Well, for everybody. Oh yes, for everybody. I'm sure.
And it may not be a
And-
high. It'll be like 10 cents or
And not
some.
until after 2026.
It won't be 10
Because-
cents,
Well,
Tim.
I was just
It won't be 10
I was
cents.
Synchronize it with the election schedule.
I was just watching a lively experiment. Patrick, I forgot his last name, Patrick Anderson works for the Journal, and he was responding to that question about the bridge, and it's the timing of somehow that this 500 million, skip all the detailed numbers, it's going to be $500 million. The
$500 million.
timing of the plan right now has it being completed just about the time of the primaries of the statewide officers in 2026. He sort of
Interesting how that
chuckled.
happens.
He chuckled and Hummel chuckled, and everybody was sort of laughing about the fact that isn't that coincidental? We'll get it finished just before that election, and then right after that election, then all bets are off about the tolls.
So,
Yes,
one of
Dan.
the other things that I'm wondering is there's a lot of architectural beauty to the old bridge. I mean, there's a lot of
Yes,
intricacies to it, which has
what-
made
That's
it
one of the reasons
that's
it was
what
so
did the
hard to
damage.
maintain.
Which are we trying to redo that? Are we trying to replicate that bridge and its appearance and its look, or can we just say, you know what, just put a bridge up that is functional?
I heard a report about that.
Well, because you've got the historical societies and all
course they
those
do,
organizations that are like, well, no, it has to be the same as the other side, and it needs to do this, and it needs to look like this.
aesthetic of it.
We got to make sure that the
Yeah.
bay doesn't get polluted when we're doing it. So when we're driving piles into the ground, I mean, it's great. Just build a bridge. Just build a platform that allows cars to go over, that has guardrails so you don't fall into the bay, and let's be done with it.
I heard a report about that. They said that in this report. I'm sorry.
I'm just laughing
did I
because
say about
this
that?
panel will be the first ones to complain about how the bridge looks if you did that.
No, I wouldn't. I could care less. Just get me
you
from
really
East
couldn't.
Providence
Just quickly to throw in there, they did that once. They built it off site. They brought it to the location. They dropped the bridge there, and they had to replace the guardrails.
Oh,
That's right, they did.
So, but I heard from the engineering community. I read a study
The young engineer.
that they said that the reason why so many bridges have catastrophically failed, and I believe they started talking about the one in Connecticut, and then there was the one in Minnesota, and then it's happened, right? And they said that the reason why is because there was a movement afoot to beautify these utilitarian structures, and that when you beautify them, you generally sealed in structural members with a facade that looked really nice but kept weather in, kept moisture against the metal, and made it so that you couldn't very easily see how much decay was being done.
Form over function.
Well, there you go, and so that's a concern.
Right. Just build a bridge that
Yeah.
you can inspect and you can keep clean, and it doesn't have to be gorgeous.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
Well, no
except maybe
different-
the scrapyard underneath it would want to
Well,
beautify
that's a
the
whole
bridge.
nother right. There's a whole nother.
I think for those of us even that are traveling through the 146 stretch recently that's been under construction, right, and they're building the lift and it's going up, I find it ironic that they're still in the process of compacting whatever material,
gosh,
sand, whatever,
yeah.
over the pillars that they had put up originally, right? So the lift is happening, but they've already got the side aesthetic, like pretty paver looking stamped concrete. And I'm like, man, they haven't even finished building just the simple structure of the road,
Right.
and they're already addressing these side, pieces that are just making it look pretty.
Yeah.
And so I guess
that's
I'm-
Well,
part of
John, isn't there's a state law that says that a certain
Oh, yeah.
amount of any public
Artistic.
project or public
Has to
10%.
money is
include
used,
artwork.
a certain percentage has to go into art or aesthetics.
Yep.
If you want to see ridiculous, the bridges, the old railroad bridges taking you from Cold Spring Park or off of Singleton Street over to the town of Blackstone on the bike path, the bridges, arched bridges that run through the old main streets in downtown Blackstone. Those are perfectly good stone structures. They were not pretty. They could have been patched up a little bit. No, they completely stripped off the face of them. They're putting a brand new facing on them. All we wanted was a freaking bike path on
Right.
top.
Right.
Take out the railroad, put a fresh bed down.
This is
Yeah.
what we
pave
do.
it. No,
Complicate
They spent,
everything.
They spent a year, at least a year, stripping down the facings on all of these bridges and beautifying the bridge.
Right. We have to keep it, and I get it, historically accurate, whatever the argument is. But in today's day and age, you don't have the luxury of, or the craftsmen to do the things that they do. So you just, it's so frustrating. Don't just make it bridge.
There you go.
But what we will admit is we are not engineers.
We are not
We are
young
not.
engineers.
So we'll leave it at that. We're not the professionals, but
Thank you for finally getting to the end of the conversation so that we can get to your second message, Melissa.
oh, well,
I've
here
been
we
trying
are.
for 7 minutes to get there.
Oh, we're way off today. That's
well,
okay.
listen, I had good conversation. I didn't want to truncate it needlessly.
I'll just share a very quick message, and that is just announcing that by next week we will be selling at both receptionist desks at the Villa at St. Antoine and St. Antoine residence locations purple pinwheels. We did this last year and ended up being a huge success. We will be selling purple pinwheels to raise money for the Rhode Island Alzheimer's Association in support of their longest day event, which is coming up very quickly. on the 21st. I believe it's the 21st, and I think the last time I talked about it, I said the 20th. So I definitely messed that up. It's the 21st of June. It's a Friday. And on that day, we will be taking all the purple pinwheels that you have purchased and written messages in memory or in honor of your loved one in the battle with Alzheimer's. We will be assembling them and then putting them along our walking path on the property at St. Antoine Community, just like we did last year. It was a beautiful display. Very symbolic of the volume of people that are impacted by Alzheimer's today. And so if you're interested in supporting this cause and this wonderful event, just stop by any of our locations front desk between now and June 21st. We sold them right up to the minute, and even while people were at the event, still selling them there. So, yep, if you're interested, stop by one of the front desks, or you can call me at 401-767-3500.
Thank you very much, Melissa. We'll return with more coffee and discussion after these important messages.
A message from the Carew Investment Group, 68 Cumberland Street, at the corner of Clinton and Cumberland Streets here in Woonsocket. The Carew Investment Group offers you personal management of investment accounts. Depending on what you're looking for, whether it be to enhance your current income, a 401k rollover, or retirement income, we'll put together a plan for you. We focus on using quality dividend-paying stocks of companies that you know, investment quality bonds, exchange-traded funds, and use the advantages offered by IRAs. You can contact Paul or Ed at the Carew Investment Group anytime for a free no-obligation portfolio review at 765-8880. Our office is at 68 Cumberland Street in Woonsocket, and our telephone number again is 765-8880. You can also email Ed at ed@carewinvestmentgroup.com or visit the website at www.carewinvestmentgroup.com. Securities offered through Bolton Global Capital, member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services offered through Bolton Global Asset Management, a registered investment advisor.
The Coffee and Panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee Roasters. All their coffee is roasted right here in Rhode Island. Down East Coffee Roasters is available at all Little General stores.
WOON Woonsocket Radio, ON AM and FM.
All right, back here on Coffee and on ON AM and FM radio. We don't have too much time in this segment here because we spent a great deal of time in the last. So let me pull up a subject that probably won't generate a whole lot of conversation. Well, the Boston Celtics played good basketball last night and beat the Cleveland Cavaliers by 25 points by my guess over here. Is it 25? Yeah. So that's not bad at all. Any basketball fans on the panel this morning? Oh, I see Melissa's hand is raised.
Not a basketball fan, but I like watching good basketball, and I think the Celtics are playing good basketball.
They are. And the Bruins were off. The Bruins were off script. Did I get that wrong? Okay, thank you very much, Denise. I didn't have the volumes turned up.
Oh, you just didn't want us to talk.
No. I certainly did.
That's the executive producer.
Denise is the
I love her subtlety, by the way.
Knock on the door.
Hey, buddy.
I play the producer on Wednesdays. She's the executive producer every day.
Yeah. Well, I have a deal with her. She listens to the speaker out there. If something's not right on the speaker, she comes and tells me so I can look and see.
She's the just-in-case person.
Yeah.
She's the backup.
Yes, exactly. So anyway, the Bruins were kind of off script. Most Bruins fans that I talked to weren't expecting the Bruins to pull it out in Game 7. They were pretty much resigned to the fact to wait till next year, and then they didn't. Mm-hmm. And then when the first game came along with their series with the Panthers, they figured, they'll just be, done away with. And they won 5-1.
Yeah, ruining everybody's expectations.
Yeah, that's right. They called it an off-script victory.
Mm. Well, they thought the coach was going to get fired.
Yeah, I mean, that was the overtime game, right?
Hoopla.
That was when Pasternak did that backhand goal in
seven.
overtime. It was just... what an insane goal
7,
that was.
Yeah.
That was amazing because he flew by the goalie, and his stick is curved to the right, and he actually shot it off the back of the stick. You would think the puck would have just slid around the corner of the thing and hit the pole, but no, it literally went right into the net. I'm thinking, and he did it so fast. It's just amazing.
Divine intervention or not?
I don't know. I'd like to think it was skill, and then he should use that a little more, but I guess he's a little bit of a head case, they say, and he isn't always as consistent as I'd like him to be, but he's a really, really brilliant hockey player.
I am amazed at hockey. I'm not a huge
I can't
hockey
follow
fan,
it. I can't follow the puck. It's
but
too fast.
I can't get over there. It's football on skates in a sense, and you're just like, these guys play more games than National Football League. They play 3 games a week, and I think about their knees and their ankles.
Yeah, 82.
Because
82 games.
I don't know how they do that on the skates. I don't know how the endurance and the physicality.
I actually like watching playoff hockey.
Yeah.
I don't like to watch the fights that turn into a game.
Oh,
in
yeah,
the
that's
season.
kind of stupid. Yeah.
But once they get down to playing hockey, like I watched that last game, Toronto game, and it was fascinating to watch because I don't know, was there even a penalty in the whole game?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. And they weren't excessively violent. Nobody was
Nope.
dropping gloves and picking fights.
Just
They were
speed.
Well, they
playing
learned in the
hockey.
first
Yeah.
part of the series because that was Toronto's idea. They kept trying to
Goad them into doing something.
goad
right?
them into doing something, and they kept getting the penalties.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was tough.
Yeah, but that last game was fascinating to watch. It was
Right.
really good.
It's good
well played hockey.
Right. And, it just
And of course, the last goal was, that flip, boom, in the overtime was.
and he was
rather-
wide open. Too. I mean, he was the
rather-
only one with he and the goalie. That was it. And bing.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm always amazed too when you watch it on TV. They look so small, and I've gone to a lot of games at my
You need a
husband's
bigger
work.
TV.
Yeah. On the ice, they just look so small. But if you've ever watched a game, even if you've gone to a Bruins game or even a PC game, something up close, and you've been right there on the glass, on the pane, these are big guys. These are 6 foot plus guys
Oh, yeah.
on top of
Oh, yeah.
skates, so which automatically
Yeah.
brings them up to like 6'4", 6'5" status.
Right.
And they're big guys. It does not reflect that well when you're watching them on TV, but they are giants.
They certainly are. Mm-hmm. All right, let's stop right here and get to our halftime break, and then we'll continue solving the problems of the world in the next portion of our program. It's time now for the weather forecast sponsored by the nice folks at Compassion International. An 80% chance of showers and possibly a thunderstorm today. High of 64 degrees and a calm wind except when the storms come along, and then the winds could gust up. A tenth to a quarter of an inch of rain is expected except higher amounts in possible thunderstorms. Tonight, a 30% chance of some leftover rain for a few hours into the early evening. Overnight low of 53. Thursday's weather. Mostly cloudy skies, 64. Friday, a chance of rain, mostly cloudy, and 50. Saturday, partly sunny skies, and 58. Sunday, they're now looking at a mostly cloudy forecast with a high of 58. Monday, partly sunny and 64. And next Tuesday, partly sunny and 70. And our temperature's actually gone down a couple of degrees during the Coffee and program. I thought it was being raised here in the room. 60 degrees is our present temperature at 8:31 in the morning. Today's business of the day is Pepin Lumber Company.
You've waited all year to start your spring projects. To create the perfect garden, stop into Pepin Lumber and pick up cedar boards for building planters, flower boxes, and birdhouses. 2 sizes, 1 by 10 by 6 feet or 1 by 12 by 6 feet. And in stock now at Pepin Lumber, Moisture Shield decking with 10 colors of composite decking plus aluminum and vinyl railings. See the 10 different colors of decking today at Pepin Lumber on Cumberland Hill Road, Woonsocket. Visit pepinlumber.com.
Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse offers authentic homemade Polish food to make your next meal special. Try our many varieties of hot and fresh pierogies with onions and what they call dirty sour cream. Or pick up golubki, kielbasa, babkas, or some fresh rye bread. We also offer a large selection of specialty and imported foods. Open Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, 9 in the morning till 6 p.m., Wednesdays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturdays from 8 to 5 p.m. It's Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse. Follow us on Facebook and learn about our weekly specials. Located at 855 Social Street, Woonsocket, Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse has all the authentic Polish foods you love.
Lou Mandeville here to tell you the only place to get your local high school and college scores, as well as the Pats, Bruins, Celtics, and Sox is on My Morning Sports Reports. And they are right here on ON 1240, Monday through Friday on the Morning Fun Show.
Thank you, Lou. And now it's time to continue with more Coffee and. But first, this message from our third segment sponsor. Tim Draper represents the Navigant Credit Union and all of its many members.
Thank you, Dave. Whether it's settling into a new home or giving your current one a home makeover, we're here to assist in every step of the way. So if you're buying your first home, which is always fun and exciting and nerve-wracking, or refinancing, borrowing money. We have a variety of mortgage loans that you can partake of if you would like. We have standard, basic fixed and adjustable rate mortgages. Our first-time homebuyer program is really cool because that is an education as well as some little discount on the rates, and we are a little more lenient on the down payment for first-time home buyers. So if you're interested in getting your first home, give us a call for sure. Then we have our New Beginnings mortgages, which, life throws you curveballs every once in a while, and sometimes your finances go haywire. And if that's been the case for you in the past, give us a call because our New Beginnings mortgage might help you get back into your home. And then one of our favorite products is our construction mortgage, which really is a one-time close mortgage. So you go to the credit union, you have a closing for the first time, schedule out the distributions of your loan, your contractor gets paid, and then at the end, it's just a quick signature, and the mortgage converts to a regular mortgage at that point. So if you're interested in any of these mortgages, any of these loans, from mortgages to home equity loans, please give us a call, 233-4700, or quite honestly, you can apply online. Simple as that. If you want to find out what you can buy, getting a pre-approval letter, like I said, just simply go to navigancecu.org and apply.
23 branches in 2023. Are we going to 24 this month?
We are going to 26.
You're a little ahead of time, aren't you?
We're a little ahead of time, correct. We are going to be in North Kingstown later on this year in July. Yep.
Well,
scheduled for July anyway at this point in time.
That's because you're very popular. I know that. I spoke to people that said, well, I don't want to have to come up to Woonsocket to do everything. They don't have any excuses now.
Well, what I find is we're actually taking, there are other larger financial institutions in the state that have decided that they don't want to be in the state for whatever reason. So Webster Bank has pulled back quite a bit from Rhode Island, and they have left all of these branches in various great locations that we have been able to get into for a much more competitive rate than if we were going to build thing from scratch.
Yeah.
So that's what this location is. I think it's Webster. In North Kingstown.
Right.
It's a retail plaza, so it's on 10 Rod Road. So it's right there in the heart of everything going on in North Kingstown. So in July we should be up and running, and hopefully we'll be as successful there as we've been in other places.
Yeah, you can't keep a good credit union down, that's for sure.
Yes.
All right, very nice. Well, I'm very, very pleased about that. And I think I sent you a little message about your ads that I've been seeing.
You did.
On the
I need
Bruins
to get that
games.
to you. Yeah, I need to get that to you. And the Red Sox games too.
I didn't see them on the Red Sox game. I'm not watching them. But
I think it's just I think it's ESPN.
Well, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that on the screen comes perhaps the most impressive ad I've seen our credit union do in many a moon.
Right. They've stepped it up a lot.
really clicked.
It's because I'm not in charge of marketing anymore. That's the problem. Now all of a sudden everything's
That's why it's better. Mm-hmm.
That's not. That can't be true.
No, it's not. I was actually at the beginning when we were talking about the concept of Own It, which is the theme for this next round of ads. I had a chance to at least help contribute to selecting that as a moving forward sort of a brand. And then, but the creative on the ads is really our marketing team does a fantastic job. I like to think that that my replacement Molly, who worked for me for many years, is just. I knew she was going to kill it. She certainly has. Well, she has her own set of skills. Trust me, she is really good. So I'm happy to see the success.
Good. All right. Well, listen, we've got a very serious matter here, and I imagine we'll all have different opinions on this, or maybe we won't. And the subject that I'm bringing up this time for comment is the Louisiana State Legislature and their new rules on, or their new ban, I suppose, on abortion has gone so far that their House Administration of Criminal Justice Committee voted 7-4 yesterday to reject the addition of exceptions to no abortions in Louisiana for reasons of rape or incest. And I'm saying, my goodness, that's hardcore. Anybody else have the same kind of reaction?
My goodness, that's hardcore.
Mm-hmm. My goodness.
My goodness.
Hard.
Yeah.
It's,
And I'm saying to myself, wow, if they're that bad in other states, because I haven't really been caring or paying attention to what other states are doing. It's their business. I've got my own issues. I'm trying to take care of my own little garden.
We have a bridge.
Right, yeah. But my goodness, folks, I spoke on Monday with Melissa Murray because last week the state of Rhode Island found it prudent, or at least the Senate in the state of Rhode Island, it's going over to the House now, to take steps to protect doctors and healthcare workers in Rhode Island who might have somebody from, say, Louisiana, as an example, come to Rhode Island to have a procedure that is illegal in their home state and get the services. They present themselves to a healthcare professional and they do what's legal here, and then they go back. People find out that they had the procedure, and now the state of Louisiana wants to extradite from Rhode Island these criminals and prosecute them in the state of Louisiana. Now, the Rhode Island state legislature is taking steps to keep that from happening.
Can you do that? I mean,
I didn't think it was possible.
If I'm a
California's trying to tax people who move out of state to
that's
avoid
true.
taxes.
That's true.
For the money they earn out of state.
Right. Now, let's just say for the sake of argument here, because it's a better example, suppose we were talking about, say, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, somewhere in the middle Atlantic instead of Louisiana, but just because my example will work better with those states, that if it were those states, they propose that if the doctor got his family in the car and drove to Disney World in Florida and passed through those states, he is up for arrest when he passes through those states as a criminal.
A criminal in his state, in his own
No,
state?
in the state where they criminalize the abortion.
Right, but he hasn't performed anything in that state, right?
No, he hasn't.
No, but for the
But
person
they
who
want
lived
to
there.
arrest him and try him in Louisiana
For traveling.
for doing a procedure on one of their residents who went to Rhode Island to get it done.
I don't think you can do that.
Yeah, I don't think you can do it either. It just sounds so totally wrong. But then
I
why
don't think
is
that's going to win in a court.
Why is the Rhode Island state legislature taking steps to protect them?
Because we have nothing better to do. We have a bridge.
I'm going to take this off to the extreme end, and maybe you can talk to Bob about this tomorrow.
Yeah.
Not that he's a constitutional lawyer, nor am I, and
Yeah.
I did not stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night, nor did I play one on TV, but I smell commerce clause coming up here.
Yeah.
Some restriction on interstate commerce, and though you don't want to think of medical procedures as commerce, they are.
Well, they are.
At,
yeah.
at a certain level, they are. You are going somewhere to obtain a service that is legal in that jurisdiction, and so they can't prohibit you in your state where you reside from obtaining that service that's offered across a state line. Just as a Rhode Island resident, if Massachusetts was selling legalized marijuana and it did not restrict it to Massachusetts residents only, if they simply said it's legal in our state, and I, as a Rhode Islander, went there to buy it, Rhode Island had no right to prosecute me for obtaining a product where it's obtained legally in another state.
Right.
Now, I don't know if the Commerce Clause actually affects that.
That's
but
not the
it's-
best example, but I
No,
get your
but
point.
it's an
The best
example.
It's not the best example because when you come back into Rhode Island and you possess this substance, that's not legal to possess.
No, but let's say
Well,
let's
but-
say you go to
yeah.
Rhode Island and
But is
like
the-
in Massachusetts and smoke
pos-
it.
At the time, possession was not necessarily illegal up to certain thresholds.
I see.
It was only the acquisition or the purchase of it was illegal unless you had a medical card. So if I could go get it there within the legal limits in Rhode Island for possession where it's legal and bring it back here.
Okay, that's a better
Let me
example, yeah.
fine tune that a little bit. So you go from Rhode Island to Massachusetts. You buy the marijuana. You use the marijuana in Massachusetts. Then you come back to Rhode Island. Rhode Island's going to go arrest the distributor of the marijuana in Massachusetts.
Well, this is the
For
sort
giving
of
it to
thing,
me because I'm the resident
this is the sort
of
of
Rhode
thing
Island.
that the legislature is working to protect the healthcare professionals from.
I applaud them. For
I don't
that,
know
but
why
that's
they
just-
should have to, because I don't see where if this ever got up to the highest levels in the court, never mind Commerce Clause, I don't see where any state statute could have jurisdiction over activities in another state where something is legal. I just don't see where their jurisdiction extends beyond their own state borders.
And based on HIPAA rules, how do they know who went where?
Oh my God, that's a very good point, Tim.
They shouldn't.
Right.
Got
This should
me.
be.
Well, listen, I don't understand all of it because the whole thing sounds bizarre, like some sort of a Rod Serling thing that's going on here. Seriously, I don't see that it's something that. Hey, a few years ago, I wouldn't have considered it worthy of discussion, except that in this day and age, it's actually real.
I mean,
that states have habitually and historically done things that were illegal because they could get votes in their state to get this done, to pass this rule. And we saw that with the legalization of marijuana, even though federally it was not legal to use in a recreational manner. So we saw all this over the last 20 some odd years. We've been seeing this. And so now the idiocy continues here where they're just going to go around and this is not so cool. It's quarter of, we have to take a little break. I have one more very serious topic and then I got some
Heavy show
nice,
today.
I got some nice fluffy ones for Melissa.
I want a fluffy one.
You want a fluffy one?
Why not?
I was saying, yeah.
Well, I want a message from Navigant Credit
All
Union, and then we'll get to some fluffy ones.
Sexist.
You can have it.
I know that he came right to me and
What do you
said,
mean?
Wow.
How is that sexist?
Fluffy ones for Melissa?
Her personality says, I like to see
We're not
the
fluffy?
silly ones.
You look at John. He is the epitome of fluff.
Oh, my goodness. Let's not do any body shaming now. So
I don't think that. Oh my God! I don't think that's what he was
there?
saying at all.
I didn't say
Oh,
marshmallow.
let's just.
Let's move along, friends. Okay,
All right.
second message
So
from
you know what
Navigant.
we are still seeing. Unfortunately, in the world that we live in, there's still a lot of fraud that's out there, and there's some bad guys sending text messages to folks claiming they're from Navigant Credit Union. Actually, we're getting members reporting that they're getting phone calls that on their caller ID come up as Navigant Credit Union with our phone number, and that is not us. Unless you've initiated a call that would require us to call you back, there's I can't think of many reasons why we would need to call you and ask you for certain information that seems out of the ordinary. So when you get those calls, or if you're getting that kind of pressure, just take a deep breath, stop, and then hang up and tell them that you call us back. And then don't use the number that they give you. Call 233-4700. And then ask for somebody in the contact center if we indeed need some information from you. It's too easy for people to get scammed. We've stopped a lot of scams. We stopped somebody last week, $28,000 that person almost lost. But through the diligence of our team, they really protected that member, and we're also proud of what they do every day, day in and day out. So remember, I tell you this because when you go into a branch, if you're asking to take out a large sum of cash or a large treasurer's check, and we start asking you questions that seem to be invasive, we apologize for that. Is not our intent. Our intent is not to really care what you do with your money. It's your money, but it is to protect you from losing your money and doing something that somebody has manipulated you into thinking is true. So if you have any questions about security, if you have any questions about potential fraud, you can always contact us at 233-4700 or visit the website navigantcu.org and look at our resources page.
Thank you very much. Tim will return after these words.
For an Allstate agent, providing protection options that fit your life is something they take, well, personally. Allstate agents are committed to learning about your needs and helping customize protection to meet them. From bundling your home and auto insurance with ease to evaluating optional coverage, your Allstate agent can help build an insurance proposal that fits your life. And just as important as learning what you need is learning what you don't. Because helping you get coverage you want with savings you deserve is what Allstate is all about. It's time to get coverage that's catered to you. Are you in good hands? Call Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. One agency, two locations in North Smithfield and Bellingham. One telephone number, 765-5000. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Allstate Property and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
You can depend on us for public service. ON Radio.
We're back here on Coffee Ann on ON AM and FM radio, and let's assemble the Coffee Ann Kangaroo Court here. No, that's coming up. That's coming up. I know you wanted to end with Fluffy. We'll just do the Coffee Ann Kangaroo Court. We do thumbs up and thumbs down. Thank you. Thumbs up and thumbs down. You got to hit it 2 or 3 times. I'm not used to it. So we've got a new one coming, by the way.
A new button or a new board?
The pandemic and dousing it with Lysol all the time, it just destroyed this control board.
And you love that control board.
No, but it was a good tool that got terribly abused by being washed down with Lysol 2 or 3, 4 times a day. It really didn't survive the pandemic very well. You see, there's a couple of control boards. I can't use that section because that was, well, never mind. But that's my excuse.
I like tech.
But I saw one out in Las Vegas that we're going to replace this with that one. It's a little tiny one. So we're going to do that about the same time we paint the walls.
Melissa.
Every
We've
time
offered.
I offer.
We
Every
volunteer
time.
to come in
we
and
will.
help you
We
paint.
will volunteer. We will community service.
I can't get my ceiling baffles. So you got to paint the ceiling before you paint the walls.
All right.
Yeah, we're tall. You and I are tall.
And it's not like I don't have something else to be doing right away. So I mean, it's not like every day I'm calling China saying,
During
"Where are my
Dave's show,
baffles?"
Melissa and I are in the background painting.
I'd rather be. I hate sitting. So yeah, if we need to do while we're talking, it's good.
I get it. Okay, Coffee Ann Kangaroo Court. Here we go. Thumbs up, thumbs down. New Florida law bans Chinese citizens from buying homes because of national security concerns. The new law prohibits many Chinese citizens from buying property near military outposts, airports, refineries, or any other place they don't want the Chinese, and is being challenged in federal court by many residents of Chinese descent since they say they're facing discrimination to buy a home. Some say they live in fear over whether they have inadvertently violated the law. It effectively prohibits most Chinese individuals without a green card on them from purchasing residential property. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Let's start with John.
Thumbs down, but I think it's up to the facilities that are feeling insecure because Chinese residents are nearby to make sure they're secure. And I hesitate to be
I'm
satisfied
sorry for laughing.
with,
Melissa just screwed up
no,
her nose
I mean,
at that one.
it's hard to answer that question easily because I'm
Yeah.
a strong believer in our Constitution and rights. And unfortunately, this nation has a Constitution that says the moment your pinky toe hits the United States soil, you are fully protected by all of the provisions of the Constitution, which is contrary to virtually every other nation on earth.
Right.
And so in order to support that, I need to support their right to buy property. And if you're concerned about your security, it's your job to take care of it yourself.
Okay, Melissa, thumbs up, thumbs down on
I'm
that
just going to
law.
give it a thumbs down, and we're going to leave it at that.
Okay, and Tim?
Yeah, thumbs down. That's
It's
a
kind of hits
really
close to you
it's a
because
slip-
of all the lending regulations
right.
you have
But
to uphold.
it's a slippery slope. It really is. You're infringing on rights, and that's a no. Thumbs
Now,
down.
The challenging question is, do you believe the Constitution should provide full constitutional protection for anybody who trips on the wire as they cross the border and land on U.S. soil?
Are they legal citizens?
That's another one.
No, not citizens
The
at all.
protection of all the laws and stuff, even if just because they're here,
Just
because
because
they
they're
fog a
here.
mirror and they're here, they get the law. Yes, yeah, actually,
Even
I
if they've
think
got a backpack full of fentanyl when they fall over the border,
they
and
get
land on your
lawyers,
soil,
they get all that other stuff.
They are
right?
required. We are required to provide them defense and all the full protections of the Constitution and our laws.
Right.
I need to.
Do you believe
give
in that?
seriously? I need to give that some serious thought
Okay,
because
give
I
it
think
some
it's.
thought.
Next case to come before the Kangaroo Court. There's new information now about a would-be winner who is disqualified from Sunday's Orange County Marathon. It was initially reported that Esteban Prado of Fountain Valley, California, illegally took water from a spectator. that's against the rules. I mean, you're running a marathon and somebody offers you some water. You can't. I mean, I remember seeing people with paper cups out there just handing them to runners as they went by in front of their houses, along the route. But there's some sort of rule in California that you can't take water from a spectator. Now, that spectator turned out to be Prado's dad, who pulled up alongside his son on a bicycle while his son was running the marathon. The marathon only lets runners take water from official hydration stations. Second place finisher Jason Yang of San Pedro, California, was declared the winner upon the disqualification. Thumbs up or thumbs down, Tim?
I'm thumbs up because I think a spectator could put something in that water that's a little performance enhancing, and then all of a sudden now you're flying down the street at 100 miles an hour. Mm-hmm. So thumbs up.
Melissa?
Same. I'm just shocked that this is where we're at in society, where we're putting safeguards on marathons, and it's just, I never would have thought of that. Never would have thought someone would have, rigged a race and possibly taken a bottle of water from someone who had.
Rosie Ruiz took two cabs and a train to win the New York Marathon.
That was so bizarre.
And
John?
in my head, I've been going towards the
Wait a
hydration.
minute. I'm sorry.
I'm going to go with a thumbs up.
You think
agree.
the rules are the rules, and you think that's good enough?
The rules are the rules. I don't know how much they spoke to the people running, or if they just gave them a set where it was number 76. But the fact is, there could be stimulants inside something not provided by the race officials, and you can't have that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, ready for the fluffy stuff?
Fluff away.
It better be good, because now you've built this up to.
Well, let's see. You be the judge.
We're gonna
Pop
keep the
star
kangaroo-
Taylor Swift's famous feud with music mogul Scooter Braun will be getting its very own docu-series. Question is, will you watch it?
Question is,
course.
who's Scooter Braun?
Discovery Plus announced Tuesday that its series VS, as in Versus, will take a deep dive into this infamous battle.
Yeah. He's the one that wouldn't sell her collection back. So all of her albums that she wrote, produced, etc. Well, he was the primary producer, right? She wanted to purchase her collection, like a lot of artists do,
Right.
and he wouldn't let her. And so then she re-recorded everything, Taylor's version.
That's
So
Does she not have a good manager that says you own everything that you write? And
it
produce?
wasn't. No, well, she was 15 when she signed the label.
Right.
So
Okay.
her first 6 albums or
Well,
so.
then shouldn't
It
that
wa- he
agreement
didn't
be
just-
illegal and null and void because she was only 15?
He didn't just do this with her. There were other artists that were also impacted. He's like a well-known person in the music industry that's been blackballed. I hate to
Sounds
say
like a
it,
very
but
wealthy person.
Yeah, but she got advice from Kelly Clarkson to do that. That's the juice behind that story. It's Kelly Clarkson's like, go out there and get revenge and re-record all of your music and just rename it Taylor's version, which is what she did.
Right.
So, genius.
Totally
so now,
legal.
Yeah.
Totally legal.
Yep.
And now real collectors will make sure that they have both.
Yes.
And they'll go out
Well,
and
the
buy
other
that.
version would be worth more.
Well, you
It
think
is
so,
illegal.
huh? I don't know about that. All right.
I'm still struggling
John?
to deal with watching Dune.
Dune?
Never mind Taylor Swift, anything.
That's not fluffy.
A Pennsylvania man's emotional support pet alligator has gone missing.
Emotional
You wanted
support.
fluff.
Oh, I'd like this on an airplane. Can I have my support?
Joey Henney posted on social media that his alligator, Wally is the name, vanished while on vacation in April. It didn't say where he went on vacation. Perhaps he went down to visit family in Florida, both of them. Henney says he suspects someone took Wally from a fenced-in enclosure on the night of April 21st. And Wally has quite a social media following, it says here, and rose to fame after being denied entry to a Philadelphia Phillies game.
So what is wrong
Next.
with people?
That's what I would do with Joe. I'm like, can't even talk about this.
You can't even talk about it?
It
No?
is just unbelievable.
I feel like I can't even go to Lowe's anymore without seeing people with their dogs. Like it's.
Oh, yeah,
Well,
that's true.
It is a.
I'm
common thing
walking
now.
around a store and I see, well, there's a dog.
I don't have a problem with dogs in stores like that as long as they're, well mannered. It's restaurants that I have a little bit of a challenge with. If you're
Yeah.
gonna bring your dog now in New Hampshire, up at Loon, One Love Brewery is like, yeah, bring your dogs. So they'll sit under the tables, and they're generally very well behaved. There's not a ton of them, so they're not fighting or anything like that. But
no, my issue is not at all with having, a therapy pup or animal, alligator, whatever it is. I just can't get over the volume that is out there now.
Yeah,
the amount of people who have therapy animals, whatever, reptile or...
Well, you're having a hard time getting your arms around the fact that everybody's crazy but you?
No, I just that we've entered
she's
this
her own
space
little crazy.
that you
Don't worry about it.
You can't step out of your front door without that security blanket, and I think about that, and I think that needs to be addressed.
COVID.
So.
Yeah.
Everybody bought a
remnants
dog.
of COVID, huh?
Yep, everybody bought a dog.
John is uncharacteristically quiet at this point.
You're going to spend more time watching TikTok.
Then you will understand.
Then
Speaking
you will
of
understand.
Chinese infiltration.
Oh, Lord.
Then you will understand. Okay. Yesterday, Providence Bomb Squad was called to the Leach Judicial Complex in
Blew
Providence
up my briefcase
at 10 a.m. after a suspicious package was found. They took it out, and just to be careful, they detonated it. Somebody's laundry.
Was it really?
Oh, my goodness.
I love it.
You
Well,
wanted
it's a good
fluff.
test run.
You wanted fluff. That's fluff, dry, and explode.
It's a drill. Trying to
Is that what it was?
I don't know.
I'm sure they can tell after they
Somebody's
blow it up.
laundry.
It was a
somebody's
dad
laundry.
joke.
Seriously.
Okay.
Yep. Now, jury trials were put on hold until the all clear was given. Some hearings had to be rescheduled for another day because they were short hearings and they
Who
couldn't
brings
get
their
back in
clothes
time.
to the judicial complex?
What's that?
Who brings their clothes to the
Maybe
judicial
it was,
complex?
maybe it was,
in a,
no idea.
maybe it was judicial robes. They were just coming back from the cleaners, and Zoots left them on the front.
Zoots.
Okay. Well, friends, that's all the time we have for today's
Well, that's
program.
enough.
You think so?
Probably
Is
over.
that quite enough? Huh?
Probably more than
How about
needed.
a final comment from John Ward?
It was great to be back from California. I got to read an entire book. Maybe I'll
the
talk
nuts
about
come
it
from?
next week as I was flying. It's not often that I spend that much time doing nothing, so I just read a book. It was great. Now, I'll have to bring it in. It's a funky name. It's about Irish immigrants during what he called famine immigrants to the United States and what they accomplished based on records from a bank back then. It's a fascinating read if you're Irish, especially. So I'm glad I'm back, ready to really get a campaign into high gear and start putting my issue statements on my website, and let's get this going. So everybody have a great day.
Let's go.
Yeah. I'm starting to hate that.
After the other night,
I
it was a
hear
little
it too
cringeworthy.
often. Something
Melissa,
good
a final comment, please.
Nothing to say, but I can tell you our window's open here in the station, and it sounds like it's pouring.
It is raining.
So I'm looking forward to running out to my car at the end of the show.
Would you like
raindrops.
a newspaper or something to
No,
put over your head?
I'll be okay. I'm not that kind of girl.
I have an
I'm
umbrella.
Okay.
She's not going to
No,
melt.
I'll be okay.
Very good. She won't melt.
I won't melt.
That's the headline.
It's okay.
Tim Draper.
Listen, I know it's raining outside, but everybody, it's still the God-given day, so let's be thankful.
Thank you very
Can I
much.
say one
Tim.
more quick thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to compliment Peyton Manning for being the only class act in the Brady
Right.
roast.
He really was.
Was he?
Yeah, he was
I
really
didn't
good.
see it.
He was really good.
was
Three-time
good.
Super Bowl loser, Tom Brady. That's my favorite
But I mean,
lines.
he made his entire speech not once using profanity.
Right.
Every other person was
Oh, is that
laced
so?
with profanity the
Laced.
whole time,
Yeah, it was pretty. Yeah.
including Tom Brady.
Yep.
Peyton Manning was the only one who came out
Yeah,
and was
that's
a
true.
totally class act.
That's true.
Well, I'll,
I know we didn't talk about this on
Based-
the show today.
based on
That's
that,
good.
I would join you in congratulating Mr. Manning and being able to do something. Because remember, if you do not have the talent to entertain our audiences without vulgar language, you don't belong here. You should be working somewhere else.
I
That's
think
what I
we've
tell
made it-
my
we've
staff.
managed to do that pretty well.
I know we don't use profanity on this show,
And
do
we're
we?
pretty good.
I
We're
was quoting
entertaining.
a sign
Oh.
in Palace Theater years ago, and I used that here in our station as a rule and guide. That if you do not possess enough talent to entertain people without vulgarity, then you don't have enough talent to work here.
Even in your
Find
rant
someone-
yesterday, you didn't use any profanity.
Well, I try not to.
Well, I guess
All right.
Joe's not
Well
going to be the
done.
next Howard Stern. WON.
It's time now for us to say goodbye to all our company. If you missed any portion of today's program, pick it up on demand. I know he's coming back from MIC.
Farewell.
All right. Pick it up on demand at woonsockeradio.com. Gary and the gang will be here at 9:30. Enjoy the battle of the Dizzy Miss Lizzies and all the other controversial subjects that you'll hear discussed in that program. I want to thank our friends here on the Wrecking Crew for being with us here
Dave,
again.
we should thank you for admirably filling in for Joe.
Well, that's very
in
kind
his
of you.
absence.
But Joe will be back tomorrow from MICKEY MOUSE. Can I sing that without having to pay a royalty?
Not anymore.
That's why I didn't finish it.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I'm the one that'll have to pay, huh? All right. Make it a good day, everyone.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant